a video?
What now? Yeah, we're driving a 2021. Yeah, I can do what I want. I'm the internet's Micah Muzio. Chevrolet Tahoe. Coming up, I'm going to tell you the feature that they really should have made standard. But first, information explosion.
You adjusting yourself, right?
Is that what you thought that I was doing?
Yeah.
Normally I screen the segments, but let's see what my daughter does. Sweetie, can you say interior at that camera?
Interior.
Wrong camera. Close enough. What are your first thoughts about the interior of the Chevrolet Tahoe?
It looks functional. It looks large.
I think you're right. There's a lot of functionality. Style-wise, it doesn't read as like super modern. I think it all just works. I'm just not like, wow, look how cool and stylish this is.
The materials actually seem nice,
Yeah.
unless my bad eyes are deceiving me.
This is only the LT trim too. They're a much higher trim. So yeah, I think in terms of material quality, it's all quite nice. Let's talk about family friendliness. Needless full throttle acceleration. That's nice. Hey, sweetie, when you got in, you noticed something that you liked about this car. What did you like about it?
That it had 7 seats.
That's right, it has a lot of seats. Do you know they make a version of this with 9 seats?
Whoa.
No.
You can get a front seat bench that's only with the LS trim, which is the lowest trim. There are not a lot of 9-passenger vehicles available these days.
How do they access the rear if you have that many people? When you fold the seats, it still is a big bulk to have to climb over to get to the rear.
Baby, you didn't fold them far enough.
Okay.
They go 1, flip down, 2, flip up and forward. Third row access is one of the great attributes of the Chevrolet Tahoe. And then once you're in the third row, unlike previous Tahoes where when you would sit in the back, it was really, really tight for adults and the high floor meant your feet were up here like this. You can actually sit like a normal human being in the back. Second row seats also offer slide and recline functionality. Getting a kid in here, how did that go? Because it's kind of a tall vehicle.
She seemed to climb in just fine with the step.
Yeah,
Is the step optional?
I don't know.
Okay.
Do you know? Please do my work and tell us in the comment section.
This is a little taller than other cars.
That's right. It's got a good view out, which is nice for the kiddo in the back.
Even taller than that car.
Yeah, take that, Toyota Corolla. Yeah, cargo space behind the third row is like 25.5 cubic feet, which is great. And then you can put the seats down and it's like, 122.5 cubic feet?
Wow. I really loved how you put the seats down too.
Tell me how much you liked it.
A lot.
Thank you for the commentary.
It was so convenient to be able to operate it from the rear, and it moved so quickly.
Yes, that was the observation. You usually have to just like hold them and it's just like, why am I waiting here? It'd be easier if I could just pull a lever. With those, they're just like, bam!
So fast. It was really convenient.
Yeah, and then the second row releases too. You don't have to make the trek up to the second. I mean, this vehicle is actually a pretty long trek up to the doors, flip the seats down, and then go back. So all that functionality in the back there is awesome. And then there's a hands-free liftgate that comes on the LT trim, which is only 1 trim up from the base trim, and that really adds to that family friendliness.
Especially if you're short. The engine compartment opened with a by itself. I didn't have to prop it up.
That's a real nicety too, if you're doing videos and you want to get shots of the engine.
Well, even if you just need to check your oil or whatever.
Yeah, so for all members of your family, even the tiny members of your family, it's pretty darn family friendly. One last comment, interior storage, beyond the big stuff, you can put a lot of stuff in that massive center console, but there are also little nooks. There's one over to the left side here where you can put a little ticket, like if you're at a parking structure. There's this thing here. I'm not even sure what's meant to go in there, but it's weirdly, I literally can't fit my hand all the way in, but it's very deep.
Does it fit a cell phone? No.
No, it doesn't. You can fit an heavy hand in there if you want. Do you have an heavy hand that you want to store somewhere? Put it in the...
Don't take my hand.
So what do we think? Family friendly?
Family friendly.
Uh-huh.
Family friendly.
Yay! If you have an even bigger family, go get the Chevy Suburban, which is basically a Tahoe, but 15 inches longer and about $2,700 pricier. Rear window test. Armrest test. Ooh, this is a good one. That is a very, very soft inboard perch. Outboard is roughly the same height and similarly squishy. I'm driving in a very comfortable 8-4. That is 2 elbows up and what do you think? Do I have pit stains? No?
No.
Oh gosh, what a winning review this is. Hey, have you subscribed to Micah Drives/Flies? If you haven't, please do. At 100,000 subs, I'm going to review a windowless white van. Style! Hey sweetie, is big a style?
That is all I can think of when I look at the exterior of this thing. It's so huge.
It makes perfect sense. When you go outside of normal dimensions, either small or large, it colors your impression of the object. In terms of style, there are some details that I like. I like the kind of forward angled C-pillar treatment on the side. That's kind of nice.
I liked the chrome.
You like the
on
chrome?
it. Yeah.
Yeah, the chrome is a nice detail. The nose, the face of the Tahoe.
Yes.
What do you think? Tell us in the comments.
Could you please tell me how many people like them and how many people dislike them?
You know what, sweetie? I can tell you how many people like and dislike this video. Do you want to make my daughter happy? Like this video. If you want to make her sad, then you can dislike this video. And you know what's crazy? Somebody watching this video will actually hit the dislike button, you monster.
Definitely.
Luckily, the ratio is really, really solid. We love the other 99.9% of you. A couple more quick style notes. There is a Z71 version of the Tahoe, which is more rugged for off-roading. And then there's an RST package, which has like 22-inch wheels and blacked out trim, and it's a little bit more street focused.
You can shift the aesthetic, but are you shifting the functionality as well with those packages?
Yes, you're less likely to go off-road with 22-inch wheels, and you are more likely to go off-road with the Z71 package's 2-speed transfer case and off-road tires and skid plates and such. So yeah, it is actually more capable. If you'd like to see what I'm driving or flying between YouTube videos, follow me over on Instagram. And if you're curious what the Muzio family is doing, give Evie a follow. In motion! Thank you, Tahoe, for letting me know that Jeep is slowing down. The Chevy Tahoe rides pretty darn smoothly for a big body-on-frame SUV. This is basically the underpinnings of a pickup truck, but it has an independent rear suspension, unlike previous Tahoes. And the independent suspension really smooths out the bumps. You know, you can see this thing go over the big bumps and it's just like, it's like a hovercraft, just like, That smooth demeanor continues to the powertrain. There's a 5.3 liter V8 under the hood and a 10-speed automatic transmission. You really don't even notice the gear changes. It just kind of is doing its thing. It's that classic, if you're not thinking about it, it's working well. And yet, when you floor it, you need this full throttle acceleration. It sounds pretty cool coming online. You don't hear that much these days because there's so many small displacement turbocharged engines, but this is a big, naturally aspirated V8. It sounds good, and it gets moving pretty darn quickly. Oh, this is great. The light has turned red. I'm gonna come to a stop and I'm gonna complain while doing it. The brake pedal has this kind of rubbery, spongy feel, and it sort of requires a lot of effort, or more effort than I would expect. It's, in terms of feel, I don't like it. Yes, it does slow the vehicle down, but a more professional reviewer would have had words there.
Some things are beyond description.
Yeah, that's true, especially for people who are bad at their jobs.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me an out. I chose not to take it. Hey, let's have Evie drive. Hey, so you are maneuvering a massive SUV. I know this is not your most comfortable place. Let me quick commend you, though. I almost said condemn just because the words are so similar. But you, when you drove the Ford F-250, you were petrified. You seem more comfortable now. Can we all quickly applaud Evie and her newfound confidence?
That's very sweet.
I think it's very cool.
Considering there's definitely going to be screaming in this review.
There may be screaming in this review. So when you're seated there, item number one, how do you feel about your ability to see out.
The windows are actually very large. I can see out well. Why is the passenger the only one who gets the handle to grab?
Because you can go yourself.
I guess so.
I'm honestly not sure why there's a grab handle here, not there, other than maybe visibility.
Visibility, that makes sense.
Yeah, perhaps. Did you have any other thoughts driving around, things you liked and didn't like?
I had trouble applying the power in a way that was smooth. I felt like I would put on the gas and then I would get into one of those...
Like a pilot-induced oscillation?
Yes!
That might be because you're not used to a vehicle with this much power.
And my foot doesn't rest quite. It just barely rests on the ground.
Yeah. So maybe there's an issue with like really dialing in your seating position and also the amount of power that's available.
That makes sense.
Even though you're very uncomfortable driving large vehicles,
yes.
Have we achieved some level of comfort in the Tahoe?
Yes. I think if I drove it all the time, I could adapt.
She could adapt. That's a pretty strong endorsement from an heavy Muzio. Good driving. See, you drove a big SUV and it worked. Thank you, Sensi the Censorship Bird. By the way, I'd like to thank everybody who has so kindly supported us on Patreon. Making car videos isn't too expensive, but making helicopter videos is outrageous. So thank you for your support. And if you'd like early access to our videos and a greatly increased likelihood that we'll respond to your specific comment, go ahead and support us over on Patreon. Emotion factor. For some people, mass equals power and status. Power and status are forms of emotion. I think there is an emotion factor. This guy is dancing super well. Yeah. There we go.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
I would love to feel so emotionally enthused that I was dancing randomly on the side of the road. Well, that guy's got an emotion factor. Do you have an emotion factor that's being hit by the Chevy Tahoe? If you'd like to buy a Chevy Tahoe, check the Kelley Blue Book listing link in the description below. Remarks! Seriously, when was the last time you spontaneously danced on the side of the road? Have you ever done that? Have you ever done that? I've never danced spontaneously on the side of the road. Oh, how liberated and joyful that must be. Item number 1, the electronic gear selector.
It was a little bit of a learning curve for me. I kept poking when I should pull and pulling when I should poke.
That's normal the first time.
The placement of it I also found odd because that's where I kept expecting to go for the radio.
Oh yeah. So the volume knob is down here, and the physical controls for the infotainment system are down here, while the screen is up here. So yeah, it's a little unexpected division, but I think you would get used to that. The thing that took me a little while is that they all look like buttons, but some of them you pull and some of them you push. I teased at the beginning of the video that there is a feature that should have been included as standard equipment on this $50,000 base price vehicle and was not. That feature is lane keeping assist.
Oh.
You can get that on a Toyota Corolla as standard equipment. It is not here as standard equipment. You can get it in a $790 package that comes with blind spot warning and rear parking sensors as well. But man, if you're like 50 large into a vehicle, just give me the lane keeping assist, won't you?
Do some people find that kind of technology unappealing? Is that why it's not included standard?
Yeah, the guy who wrote his penny farthing to the Chevrolet dealer. He doesn't agree with these modern technologies. They steal your soul if you use them. That said, automatic emergency braking is standard, so
That's a good one.
You won't hit things over there. You just might hit things over there and there. Standard infotainment system is this 10.2-inch unit, which I think works pretty darn well. Reasonable layout. Look at this. You've got this landing pad that you can rest your hand on for making steady inputs. This is one of my big problems with the touchscreen, is that in a dynamic environment, moving around, sometimes it's difficult to be accurate, and this allows you to stabilize yourself. This is why I'm not fully on board with a completely screen-based instrument situation in an aircraft.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard, and there's also available Apple CarPlay that's wireless. Did you have a chance to use the 360-degree camera system?
I did. I liked that there were so many options, and I loved that when I was pulling into a parking space, it automatically defaulted to the front one so I could see how close I was getting.
Yeah.
I did have a little bit of a learning curve figuring out what did what.
It is an embarrassment of angle riches, but you will learn how to use them over time. And you had also mentioned that you weren't sure how to activate it. To activate the camera, just go to home, swipe over one. Whoops. Oh boy. As easy as that.
It's so easy.
And then there's a camera thing right over here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and that'll pull that up. And this does point out something, which is that it's a pretty long reach to the right side.
Yes.
If you're sitting over, if you got like tiny little sweetie arms, then that would be a long reach. You have to really kind of lean over there. We're driving the Tahoe with the 5.3 liter V8. There's a 6.2 liter V8 offering more power for the very highest high country trim. And then there's also a 3 liter inline 6-cylinder turbo diesel, which has a ton of torque. Can I tell you something interesting about the engines?
Please.
I will. The maximum tow rating is 8,400 pounds with the smaller engine. The 6.2 liter, which has more power, actually tows 100 pounds less. And what that tells you is that the limiting factor is not the engine. The limiting factor has to do with the chassis. Normally you
That
think
is super
more power,
interesting.
more tow, not in this case. I'll also mention that 2-wheel drive is standard and 4-wheel drive is available for $3,000.
What is it? Oh.
Why did you say,
That beep lets you know the ceremonial overheating of the GoPro has occurred. Before we lose this camera, I'll note that the key competitors are the Ford Expedition. This actually has more cargo space than the Expedition. Expedition's a little bit pricier too, but it also has some really neat features. You could also buy a Toyota Sequoia or a Nissan Armada, both of which are incredibly old right now. Hey, did I miss any remarks? If I did, tell us in the comment section. Label them remarks. Get in on the game. Synopsis. Sweetie, can I tell you something?
Please.
This is the moment I forgot to make a synopsis.
Oh no.
Do you have a synopsis?
Well, I would have if I had thought about it.
Yeah,
Let's
me
see.
too. I'm gonna do the improv thing. There's a Wiener Schnitzel, and you know what's happening right now at Wiener Schnitzel? Ooze Fest.
no.
Do you know about Ooze Fest? They take something that is already cheesy, and then they add even more cheese. And it's like, do you need more cheese? Well, maybe you do.
Is it Ooze Fest? Then yes, you do.
It's not for everybody. Not everybody needs something like this, something this big, something this, powerful and massive. But if you do need that, go all in. The Chevy Tahoe is the Ooze Fest of full-size SUVs. By the way, that's why the synopsis is not legally binding.
That was a pretty good riff. I'm impressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a better synopsis? Tell us in the comments. If you haven't subscribed to Micah Drives, please do. 100,000 subs. I'm going to review a windowless white van. Follow us over on Instagram. You can follow Evie if you want to know what the family's up to. Follow me if you're curious what I'm driving or flying. Did we have a nice review? Did we enjoy driving the Chevy Tahoe?
I did.
I did too. Ooze Fest. Hey, sweetie, can I have a high five?
Yes.
Huh? And you too. Come get your high five. Ah!